Hello, we are live. Welcome to the Tommy Robinson Circus. What is going on in the chat? Lots of Iggy talk. Everyone wants to meet Iggy. All right. Yeah, guys, it's been a crazy day. All sorts of shenanigans. So, hey, the Raider, how we going? Big Gadget's here. That's right. So yeah, this case, I feel like it should be not very interesting. I mean, so Tommy Robinson was pulled over last year under Schedule 7 of the Terrorism Act and questioned. Basically he started filming the police. He called one a C bomb. See you next Tuesday. And they asked him to hand over his phone, to give them his pin. He refused, and according to UK law, you cannot do that. So, hey, DLMF Music Production, how you going? So yeah, and this is all like very silly to me. I mean, for example, even if Tommy is found guilty of this, he might not even serve any jail time. He might get a fine. Like the maximum prison sentence is 3 months. But it's just this circle of clowns and grifters are just so ridiculous that I just felt like I had to jump on live and kind of go over some things and show some of these silly childish lies that they're doing. Tommy and his friends Ezra and a few others. So the first thing I want to look at is Mr. Tommy Robinson. Real name, of course, Stephen Yaxley Lennon. He's a very serious journalist, guys, if you didn't know. Very serious, legitimate journalist. And I just wanted to have a look at one...
The trolls!
Sorry, guys. One video here. Of Tommy outside court yesterday, just to kind of set the scene, and then we can talk about what has got Tommy so mad. So it should be this screen here. Okay, there we go. We should be seeing this. All right, let's look at our little man, Stephen Yaxley Lennon, outside the courthouse yesterday. As a reporter from the BBC walks past.
Finished today, Tommy.
Yeah, turn the camera on, sir. You're a member of the press. You was in there today.
Sorry, when
You're a member of the press. You was in there today. Can I ask you, what did you think of the fact? What did you think of the fact?
It's a contempt court case.
No, it's not. No, it's not. There's no jury. That's only for juries. There's not contempt.
That's a lie, but we'll get to that later. We'll just keep going.
That's a lie. That's a lie. No, you're a member of the press.
I can't discuss.
Well, I've looked at your reporting today. I've looked at your reporting. I've looked at your reporting today. Yeah. Why don't you tell the truth? Why don't you tell the truth about what happened in court today? Why don't you tell the truth? Why don't you tell the truth? You see, that's the media. Where's
I'm here. So they're running
That's
away
the mainstream
from you.
media, yeah? He is sat in that court case. We'll see what verdict we get tomorrow. Not one of them has reported any of the unlawful stuff the police have done. And then you know what? He went to the judge. He went to the judge to...
Oh, Tommy looks like he was going to headbutt that journalist as he walked past, with his veins popping out of his forehead. Just furious.
make sure Ezra will stop reporting. He did.
He was the grass.
He went as a member of the press to point out that he's sitting in the public gallery and he's reporting on this case. To prevent him reporting so that the only narrative you get is from them. Fast car, cash in his car. Why do I have cash in the car? Because we collected a demonstration the day before and I can't bank in the UK, you mucks. Anyway, yeah.
They mentioned about vague answers.
Yeah? He asked me one question. Where are you going? Benidorm.
So you can't even make that long. And I was in there today watching you.
Yep.
And one of the things I like to do when I'm doing journalism,
This guy's a real journalist too, apparently. This one. Okay, let's get back to the chat here. Oh, my chat's not updating now. What is going on here? Can you guys all hear me? Testing. Yep, my mic seems to be working. Give me some ones in the chat if you can all hear me. We've got a few people in here, a bit of a small crowd, but I expected that. I just want to make sure. I've had a few audio issues the last stream. I just want to make sure you can all hear me. Give me some ones if you can hear me. Anyone in the crowd? We've got Son of the Secret, you there? Okay, cool. Cool. I just want to make sure. So some of you guys, if you don't know, this is like my 3rd stream ever. So so I'm not quite a pro yet. So I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't making a mess of this. So yeah, Tommy just had a pretty brutal meltdown outside court there, and the guy's just unhinged. He's out of control. He looks like he seemed like he was going to punch someone. This journalist is walking past. So anyway, a few things about this case. I've got an article up here so we can look at a few things about this case. Change screens again here. Okay. So Mr. Tommy Robinson refuses to give phone PIN to project journalistic material. And we're just going to have to take his word for that, are we? He's got some journalistic material on there. He says something to do with some victims that he spoke to, but the guy lies a lot. So I don't trust him. I don't know if you should take his word for that one. Okay, so he was detained under Section 7 of the Terrorism Act. So again, this is the maximum that we're looking at is up to 3 months jail, and or a $2,500, £2,500 fine. So again, it doesn't seem like he's going to get much, if any, prison sentence if he's found guilty. So there's a few things down here. So there's a few interesting things that came out of this. Was old Tommy had a giant bag of cash sitting in this luxury Bentley that he was apparently driving. So there was £13,000 and nearly €2,000 sitting in a bag next to him. So a few things here. So he says that he just had a demonstration and they had the buckets out to give Tommy money so he can go to Cyprus and live it up in a 5-star resort for a few months or something. And which is all well and good, but so crossing the borders in the UK, and I'm not from the UK in case you can't tell. So I'm kind of learning some of this as I go, but if you pass the border with anything more or basically £10,000 or more, I believe it was, you have to declare it. So there's that, and there's also the but what's the chances of this guy that this guy's paying tax on these donations? He's on the run for unpaid tax. I'm not on the run, but he's like, they're after him for unpaid taxes. And he owes, of course, the Syrian schoolboy that he lied about being a violent sex predator in the Facebook videos and in silence there. He owes him a bunch of money too. So he went bankrupt and appears to be allegedly hiding a lot of assets. So that I'll be very interested to see if anything more comes of this cash that our mate Tommy's had with him there. But yeah, the main thing, like, look, because I'm not a legal expert either, which I don't claim to be. So, but what I do like to do and get a kick out of doing is debunking people that love lying to the audiences online. That's something that I don't know. I kind of like doing, and Tommy Robinson is one of the most prolific, like, embarrassing and constant liars, I believe, on social media today. So what we're gonna do, I've got a few. One of his gal pals He's running they're upset he had cash on him. He's debanked. What else is he supposed to do? Yeah, I know. It's and again, like that kind of is fine to an extent, but you still need to declare cash, and you can't just have all this cash and not pay. Oh, you're asking like why I think he's a liar? Void Sonic Shuffle. So yeah, okay. So basically, a really good explanation of why I think that is my review of his quote unquote documentary Silenced. That basically got him locked up essentially because he was repeating claims that he made about a Syrian schoolboy. So that is really where I kind of first started covering Tommy and started thinking that he was just a giant online grifter. Not unlike, in this sense at least, not in all of Tate's crimes, but in the grifting sense, he's very similar, I think. And because he repeated all his lies about this kid, which they are lies. Like if you fact check them, if you look at the judgment, it's like he just made a fool of himself in courts trying to defend his claims. But he just tells a bunch of other lies during the course of this documentary. Like a really good example is that, and you'll see this repeated a lot, that all the teachers were paid hush money to hide the truth about this kid in the school. And Tommy said that. So in this documentary, he claims this, and on screen he shows a figure of, I think off the top of my head it was like £270,000 or something like that. And on the screen in his documentary, if you pause it and then zoom in, you'll see that the figure he's showing is actually the total non-gratia payments. So the total payments for the council that year for things like like payouts and all sorts of things for the whole council. And Tommy showed this figure and lied to his fans that this is all about this boy and this incident. So that's one like massive example. But anyway, I'm gonna take a sip of water, and then I just got a few few videos and tweets to go over, and some of it's some good fun stuff, some of it's some pretty funny stuff. Okay, what do we got? The first one, I had it all in order. Oh, this is funny too. Let me change my screen here. So when Tommy was pulled over, and now look, this is the officer's testimony, I must say. So Tommy was pulled over. According to the officer, they asked for his PIN, and he said, "Not a chance, bruv. You look like C words, so you ain't having it." So he was straight away doing himself a lot of favors. Got things off to a good start. Got off on the right foot, I guess you'll say. So this is kind of how things start, and then he tells the police that it contained information about vulnerable girls and all these things. So, and I've also seen in another article and kind of explained, because again, I'm not from the UK, I'm learning and how this all works. But the police in the court have been saying that they explained to him that how the law works and that he needs to hand over his PIN, regardless. Not to mention the fact of like Tommy Robinson claiming to be a journalist is pretty funny. It's pretty hilarious. I mean, he's a clown. His most famous piece of journalism is just lying about a child for 2 hours. That basically volunteered him to jail so he could lie that he was going to fight the case, accept donations, and then plead guilty and go to jail. So that's his journalistic credentials there. Okay, what's the next one I had here? Okay, I wanted to get into this at the start as well, because, and now one thing I need to make clear at the start is like as a non-UK resident, some of these laws are a bit odd to me, and how they're named and the wording of them and certain things. I'll explain this as I go. So this one I just posted a little while back. So Tommy is deliberately misleading and confusing his followers. We'll watch the video and I'll explain. We'll do that.
Because the verdict, if I get a guilty, I can be sent to jail today. But after watching how it played out yesterday, how ridiculous and how blatantly, how targeted this was. This has nothing to do with terrorism. As I said, like, they shouldn't be able to arrest people, detain people under terrorism legislation unless they believe you're a terrorist. Unless they have some sort of evidence you're a terrorist, but all the evidence spoke to the fact I wasn't a terrorist.
Yeah.
Because the verdict.
Okay, so this is something that he's really using, and I'm seeing like in a lot of the comments to my posts and replies to my posts, and I don't blame people because it's confusing. Like, you hear the word terrorist, right? You think of someone that's wanting to kill people. I mean, those of us who are my age and older maybe might think of suicide bombers and things like this. And Tommy and his supporters are really leaning into this to create outrage, saying that he's not a terrorist. You shouldn't arrest people for. You shouldn't arrest people that clearly aren't a terrorist for being a terrorist. And again, this for me as a non-UK person, the wording and like how this act is named and worded kind of opens. This makes Tommy's job easy in this sense that he can just lie and mislead his followers in this way. So what I will do is go to. So he does not need to be deemed a terrorist to be found guilty in this case. See quoted posts, which we will do now. So this is what I'm getting a lot. Tommy Robinson isn't a terrorist. And this is what I'm getting like all through my replies. Which again, I don't kind of blame people. It's confusing. Like, as an Australian, when I heard he was arrested for the Terrorism Act, I was a bit confused as well. So people keep hearing Terrorism Act and acting as if the police thought Tommy was a suicide bomber. That's not what this law is. So under Schedule 7 of the UK Terrorism Act, officers can question or detain someone at ports, airports, border zones to check for links to terrorism. So yes, that is one thing. Or foreign fighters, extremist funding, or other national security concerns. And some people might disagree with that and say that's outrageous, but they're really leaning in on the terrorism thing. So it's a broad counter-extremism power, not an accusation of plotting an attack, which is what Tommy's trying to make it sound like. And then this makes it easy for them to just flow into the narrative of like, there's people coming on boats from this country and this country, and they're pulling Tommy Robinson over for being a terrorist, for not giving his PIN number. So Tommy and all his mates, Ezra, and all these clowns can really create confusion with this. So for example, someone might be stopped if they travelled repeatedly to conflict zones, being linked to extremist groups or propaganda network. I mean, Tommy Robinson's network is a propaganda network. I mean, and there'll be people in the chat, I'm not looking at the chat just now, but there'll be people in the chat that find that outrageous. Just fact check anything Tommy or Ezra say. They're just non-stop liars. So that's a relevant part of it to me. Or move large sums of money to or from risky sources. We had a large sum of money. Not sure about the risky sources part. So when Tommy and the crew shout, "They think I'm a terrorist," he's twisting what the law means. And he knows this. Like, do you think this hasn't been explained to him? Of course it has. So he's doing this to stoke outrage, confuse everyone, and just be a drama queen. He's the victim, always. He's the little victim. I'll just jump in the chat here. Where are we? What a clown you are. Hey, biker, good to see you. Bailey, the school bully in the documentary, his brother. But yeah, his mate, and Tommy's mates too. So Bailey, the the other boy who was accused of waterboarding and accused of being a racist. I go all over all of this in my I go over all of this in my review of Silence, if anyone wants to watch that. But yeah, one thing Tommy didn't disclose as well, that he was good friends and connected to the family of the other child, the other kid that was involved in this. He was good friends with his brother, who was connected with the EDL back in the day, and now has been arrested and is in prison for smuggling cocaine. Funny enough. Funny enough when we're talking about Tommy Robinson, because many people who have spent time in his network said he is a serious cocaine abuser. Now, I cannot confirm or deny. I haven't witnessed this myself, but this is what we have heard. What are my thoughts on Tommy TR wannabes? Liam Tufts and Paul Thorpe, absolute clowns. I mean, Liam Tufts, and again, some of these people too. I should say that I'm pretty new in the scheme of things, like covering this network of grifters. So some people have been all over this for years. But when we look at like Liam, so I'm kind of new in my opinions on some of these, and others might be able to give more insights. But yeah, Liam Tufts is just unhinged. When I see him having the similar wired nature that we do with Tommy. And Paul Thorpe. So I've learned a little bit about this guy. Real shady character. Has a history of allegedly scamming with selling watches, I believe it was. Top of my head. So yeah, it's a really bizarre bunch, and it's just a real bunch of desperate people that are reliant on Tommy Robinson for views, and it's just really sad how they cling on to him. Tommy terrorized you with his lies. Yeah, he'll do that. Lauren suggested that about Tommy's coke habit. There's been a lot, man. There's been a lot. There's been a lot of people that have. All right, let's look at what's my next tweet here. I was going to show you. Okay, cool. So this is something I wanted to...
You remember...
Sorry, guys. Something I wanted to go over as well. Okay. So this is a shorter segment of... it's basically the same video, so I won't play it again. But the Tommy, when he stopped that BBC reporter for refusing to tell people what happened... actually, we'll play it again just for the context. So the journalist says that this could land him in contempt of court. So let's just listen to this to refresh our memory.
Turn the camera on for a second. You're a member of the press. You was in there today.
Sorry,
You're a member of the press. You was in there today. Can I ask you, what did you think of the fact? What did you think of the fact?
It's a contempt of court case.
No, it's not. No, it's not. There's no jury. That's only for juries. There's not contempt. That's a lie. That's a lie. No. You're a member of the press.
I can't discuss.
Well, I've looked at your reporting today. I've looked at your reporting. I've looked at your reporting today. Yeah. Why don't you tell the truth? Why don't you tell the truth about what happened in court today? Why don't you tell the truth? Why don't you tell the truth? You see, that's the media. Yeah. Turn the camera on for a second.
Okay. So one thing I would say to Tommy is ask your mate Andrew Tate how what it's like when I'm watching your tweets and you lie like a pathetic child. Ask your mate Andrew Tate how much of a fool you look like, because this is what's going to happen to you as well. So Tommy claims to be a journalist. This makes me laugh saying it. So he thinks he's a journalist. He says, yeah, so he asked this reporter, why aren't you... Tell me what happened in court. The journalist, who works for the BBC, I can't recall his name, but it's not important. He replies saying that discussing the trial could land him in contempt of court. Tommy says, that's a lie. He's only for jury... Oh, I can't do his accent. It's only for juries. So Tommy is the one lying. Let's look at why. And this I was kind of aware of, because I was kind of aware of the UK contempt of court laws, just because I found it really interesting. I learned a little bit about this when I kind of tried to get a sense of what would happen to, for example, Andrew Tate if he was lying and carrying on and intimidating victims and witnesses as he is in Romania if he was in the UK? And the answer, I believe, is that he would be in jail if he was. So under the UK Contempt of Court Act of 1981, anyone, journalists, editors, even social media users, can be prosecuted if their commentary risks influencing an active trial. So yeah, these kind of laws are really strict in the UK, which is, for this one, I'm kind of on the fence on. It can be good, it can be bad. Like for example, if you got someone in a human trafficking case like Tate just attacking victims in the case and just literally could ruin cases doing things like that, and nothing happens, that's crazy. That's not good. So examples of some things that a journalist would get a journalist in trouble. So it's clear from the evidence he's guilty. The witness seems unreliable. Most people think the jury will convict. Here's what I think really happened. So we're talking about a journalist in court reporting. So the laws are very strict on that. They can say what's being said in court, what's happening, as they do. But this kind of commentary is not allowed in the UK in court. Now we're going to get into one of Tommy's good mates, Ezra. So Tommy's ally, Ezra, he was banned yesterday from posting in court for doing this. So he was posting a thread giving commentary on what was happening in court, and he was told not to, which was an outrage, they said. So Ezra's claiming that it was just simply because he had 7 million impressions on his tweets, which we'll get into. So yeah, when Tommy says only juries can be done for contempt, he's either lying or doesn't understand the law, but he must understand that. He's spent time in prison for contempt of court. If he doesn't understand that, he's an idiot. And he may be, but I think he's lying. It's ridiculous. So the journalist was right, like for an irate, red-faced, strung-up Tommy Robinson to be demanding him give his point of view on the court as he comes out of on what happened in court as he comes out of the courthouse. He was very much right to not comment. So I don't know if Tommy thought he was gonna suck him in there. I'm not sure what it was. Let's have a look at the chat and see what's going on. Yes, sniff, you know what I mean, bruv. That's our Tommy. Refusing to provide a PIN code is not a criminal offence in the UK. You're leaving a bit of context there, quite deliberately, surely. I mean, come on. Let's be serious. Okay. I'll quickly get on to the next one, because the next one kind of flows on from that. So, oops, not that one. Okay. Let's have a look. So it was an outrage that Ezra Levant was told that he could no longer tweet his updates from court. Now keep in mind what we just read, and again, whether you agree or disagree with the laws, my point is these people are lying about the laws, what they are. So there's a whole other conversation about whether it should be this strict or not. But let's just scroll down here. So this, you get, again, not allowed to give opinions or like, comment on people, comment on, witnesses. So if you just scroll down here, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long for it to get a bit silly. Okay. Okay, here's a start here. So the prosecutor starts. Morris mentions that Tommy was driving a fancy car. Ezra, there is no need for that flourish legally, but if the purpose of this prosecution is to embarrass and politically damage Tommy, of course it wouldn't be mentioned. Unethical. I mean, it's just blatant. Like, you're not supposed to do that in court. Tommy gave short, vain replies and didn't make eye contact. So that's them describing the police's recollection, of course. Huh? Sorry, is this a crime? This is what the Terrorism Act is supposed to root out? So lame. Two-tier justice system. So I feel like I need to just, again, quickly go back to this and scroll up. Oops. There we go. Okay. It's clear from the evidence. Yeah, we get the idea. Can't do that. It gets pretty funny. I mean, this guy is a cringe lord, as the kids would say, Mr. Levant. Purely designed to air scurrilous tidbits about him for the press. Nothing illegal, just designed to embarrass. Okay, I'm gonna have to keep this thread going. It gets funnier. It gets funnier. Need to find when the police come out. Okay. The prosecutor says to the officer, says the officer again requested the PIN code, and Tommy said, "Not a chance, bruv. I got everything from my solicitors on there." Why did the prosecutor quote the word bruv? Is that supposed to make Tommy look working class? Like, it's just what he said, mate. That's what he said. Okay, where's... I want to get into the vegan policeman stuff. That's the good stuff. Where's the vegan cop? That's why he was arrested under the Terrorism Act. Not because of his politics. No, sir. So he's still not sure why he got kicked out of court there, Ezra? Are you sure? Are you sure you're confused? I mean, he knows. This guy, and again, I'm kind of new to this circle of grifters. My impression of Ezra is that he's not dumb, and he knows what he's doing. He knows he's lying, and he knows he's grifting. That's what I think. Either that, or he's a moron. Or a bit of both, but we'll see. Okay, where's... Just need some of the, I forgot how much of this there is. There's a cop that Mr. Levant decides is a vegan. He must be a vegan because he looks like a vegan. So, where is he? Oh, vegan cop. Okay, where does he start saying it? Okay, never mind. But he just starts calling... He just decides that this cop is a vegan, and he's a lefty, and he's a... Antifa, I can't remember, something along those lines. Vegan cop. Vegan cop. Vegan cop mumbles. Vegan cop mumbles. Okay. So I'm sure no one else in the whole courthouse could hear this person. So, anyway, I made my point. So, these guys are just idiots. They're morons. So given that context, what the UK contempt of court laws are, and the way Ezra was carrying on, so he's sitting in the courtroom tweeting this, and there was more. There was worse stuff than that. He got really silly, and then my opinion is he knew that he was going to get told to stop tweeting, and he just pushed the envelope so that he could cry that he's a victim, and it's two-tier justice. Liam Tufts had a hissy fit because the cop wouldn't shake his hand. That was great. That was fantastic. He's like his head was going to explode because he walked up with the camera and, "Oi, shake my hand, mate," to a police officer. He said, "No, sir, I'm working." And then he just started screaming and yelling at him. These people are incredible. Okay, what's that next? Okay, we got another one from Ezra. This guy's a clown. I mean, and he's one of the big dogs in Tommy's circle of grifters. He runs what's it called, Rebel Media. So he's had a bunch of Tommy himself work for him, and a bunch of these people work for him. So, all right, let's watch the video and then I'll explain. Let's listen to our mate Ezra, see what he has to say.
Recognized him, pulled him over, detained him for 6 hours, and under the Terrorism Act, Schedule 7, police have the power to hold you for 6 hours and ask you questions, and you do not have the right to remain silent. So you can have your lawyer there, but all your lawyer's going to say is, yeah, you have to answer questions. Tommy was leaving.
Wow, that sounds outrageous. They can just pull poor Tommy over, and he doesn't have the right to remain silent. So he would have to answer questions. Okay, let's get to reality. So Tommy propagandist, just what I think he is, Ezra Levant, keeps claiming that under UK terrorism laws, you don't have the right to remain silent. So we're talking about, again, Schedule 7 of the Terrorism Act. Under the schedule, you must answer certain questions, like your name, address, travel plans, and nationality, hand over requested documents, so it could be your driver's license, passport, whatever. Refusing in that setting can be a criminal offence. But this only applies during that specific stop, and only questions related to terrorism, so these relevant questions. Once the stop ends, your normal rights return. So this absolute clown has taken the fact that Tommy had to answer these questions and was compelled to hand over his PIN to say that he doesn't have the right to remain silent. Now, this is one thing I meant to say earlier too, at the top of the video, at the top of the stream. Just regarding this law as well. So to be clear, this law that's being stopped under this Terrorism Act in the UK, they're legally compelled to hand over their PIN. To me, this law, to be honest, to be fair to the other side, you could say, this law is a bit odd to me as an Australian. Like, for example, in Australia, if you were stopped under an equivalent stop, for example, they would need like a warrant to make you compelled to hand over the PIN. So yes, so to be fair, this law I do find a bit strange. To be fair. So there's our mate Ezra. Let's jump back in the chat. Let's see what's going on. Are we all behaving in the chat? I'll grab a drink as well. What's going on? We're speculating whether Ezra's a Jew. I've heard people. I don't know if he is. I don't really care. He also plays the name chat. Is that not his real name as well, is it? I mean, hey, Gadget's not my real name either, so I guess I'm doing the same thing. I'm in the name change game as well. Okay. This one was fun. So one of Tommy's circle, Dan Wooten? This guy's a character. This guy's insane. I've seen just a few clips of him, particularly when in the St. Pancras train station incident, and he was, heavily grifting for Tommy during that. I mean, he obviously does all the time. I just want to play like the start, the intro. I'm not going to watch this whole thing, 24 minutes, but I just want to play the intro of this video because I found it, I don't know, it's really something. Make sure the screen's sharing. Yep.
The UK deep state and police have shamed themselves today in Tommy Robinson's terror trial at the Westminster Magistrates Court.
It's so dramatic. It's so melodramatic. Go on, Dan.
A complete and utter farce, a
Oh.
political prosecution, a case designed to drive the man out of the country for good, and a genuine concern for fading democracy in Britain. So let's just think about this for 1 minute, right? There is currently an unabated invasion of the UK via our southern border, with hundreds.
Okay. That's what I really wanted to watch. It gets a bit crazy after that. But this guy, I feel like he's like a real theatre kid that just wanted to be an actor, wanted to do the performing arts, and this is his like little outlet for that. Like, let's show them how angry Dan is about Tommy being arrested and them saying he's a terrorist. he's a madman, and this is just his mode. Like, I've seen a few. Again, this is a new character for me. I'm still learning some of these people, but this is just his This is just how he carries on. So I just wanted to look at the start of that one. To ensure that phone evidence. Hey, Kerith. Ensure the phone evidence can't be tampered with, interfered. Jeez, the mind control is relentless. So you're talking about Dan? I mean, if you are, then I agree. He's... I think I need to make some more videos clowning on him. I just find him great. Like, he's one of my favourite characters. In the Tommy verse, he's one of my favourite. I'll say that, and I'm sure there's some like horrific things he's done and said. I've heard a few things I haven't really looked into. But just as far as like an on-screen character, I find him hilarious. Yes, Dan. I thought you were talking about Dan. Cheers. DLF. I'm reading that as DILF Music Production, and that's how I want to think that your name is DILF. DILF Music Production. Okay. What do we got next? I'm getting through these pretty quick, so there might be a bit of time just to kind of chat after. What's this next one? Okay. Now, oops, sorry, wrong screen. If there's one thing I'm finding, any Tommy Robinson supporters in the chat, if there's any there, you can confirm this for me. This is the one thing that triggers them more than anything, is just pointing out the ridiculous lies about the crowd sizes. And it's so funny because it's so like, who cares? I don't really care. I'm just doing this. Is funny. This is funny to me. So for those that aren't aware, at Tommy Robinson's Unites the Kingdom rally last month, he has been repeatedly claiming that in these streets through London, there was 3 million people. That's 3 million. And no, he didn't say that once and add a few extra zeros accidentally. Like, he's tweeted this repeatedly. There was 3 million people marching through the streets. So, and we've got, again, one of Tommy's biggest propagandists, biggest boot sniffers, biggest clowns, biggest suck-ups, Ezra. He was a little bit more closer to reality. So let's just see what he had to say about it.
You can see behind me there's a lot of police standing there, many more down the block. This is a huge event, not surprising given that Tommy Robinson himself mustered hundreds of thousands of marchers just a few weeks ago.
There you go, official. Ezra Levant has called Tommy Robinson a liar. Hundreds of thousands. I mean, there was a bit over 100,000 estimates I've seen ranging between 110,000, ranging up to 150,000, which is a big crowd. I mean, that was a big crowd to brag about that they got there. But this Tommy is just a clown that he just can't help himself. He can't help himself but lie. Let's look at some of these comments here, just to give you an idea. Like, This is one. So Tommy has tweeted, the police have said that there's 3 million people. So his supporters they just run with that. The source is the police. Like any official source that you see what the police said, it's like 110,000. So that's silly. 150,000 was a blatant lie. I mean, I'm not sure if any of you have seen like a crowd this size. Like even 150,000 is a massive amount of people. This guy's kind of joking, so I'll give him a pass. Sounds cool saying, "Oh, I'm a pedo enabler because I don't think there was 3 million people walking through a few streets in London last month." My response to that is, yeah, your your hero has some questionable friends. Just say that. Yeah, then there's meltdowns. I've been seeing so many replies coming through to this, just melting down. More like 4 million, 3 million. This is the big one. Did you go? I mean, no, I have a brain though. Sorry. So yeah, this is what I was finding a lot of fun. Let's jump the chat here. Man, guys, I really need to get a good setup with a few screens here so I can keep looking at the chat while I'm doing this stuff. Living in the same country as Tommy can be embarrassing. Hey, we don't hold it against you. We don't hold it against all of you. There's some pretty embarrassing Australians. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. We get a break once he bucks off to Spain. That lot really can't count. It's crazy because, like, yeah, they just have to believe it. I mean, because if they don't go along with these lies, it's like their whole worldview just crumbles. It crashes down. Because once Tommy's lying about this, then all of a sudden we have to look at, is he lying about being in jail for telling the truth? Oh, we don't want to look at that. Was he lying about the Syrian schoolboy? Oh, we don't want to look at that. That was a government conspiracy. It's like, so they can't accept any of these lies, and so when he says just this absurd, ridiculous, like childish stuff, there was 3 million people walking through these streets in London. They just have to debase themselves and like lower themselves and just go with it. Thank you for what you do. Thanks, Leo. No, I appreciate it, man. Please look into Gurumit. Yeah, he's another one too. All these people. I've just been fascinated since I started kind of looking into this circle. It's a bizarre group of characters. The more you look into it, I mean, so many of them are criminals, like Gurumit. He was on the run, live tweeting at the police, and he's one that spent prison time for an armed robbery, didn't he? I mean, these are degenerate people. It's birds. Yeah, it's it. Birds of a feather flock together. What about his financial fraud? I mean, honestly, this is a big reason why I cover him. Why I feel like his relevance to cover on my channel is because I see him as as one of the top like social media scammers, I believe. And I cover scams and grifts on my channel. That's what I do. That's what people seem to like watching me do that. And this is what I think it is. And I don't touch I really keep politics. It's irrelevant. Like when I'm talking about, for example, the truth of what he's saying, like whether he's lying about what he's saying to get donations, this is irrelevant to whether someone agrees with his politics or not. And very similar to when I do cover Tate, like Tate and his fans want to think that everyone criticizing them are lefties, feminists, blue hairs, um, and it's very similar with Tommy's fans criticize him about something completely irrelevant to politics. Oh, typical lefty blue-haired lib. Get another booster shot or whatever their catchphrases are. It's where you have the UK rally is only like 0.8 miles long. Yeah, I had obviously I don't know the area myself, but I've had a number of people say the same thing. And I've also had like I've seen some AI what is it? Some like AI like crowd counting type thing. It's just impossible to fit like anywhere near that amount in the area that they're talking about. And they can look at their drone shots, and it's a lot of people. It's a good crowd. They could have just been, yeah, I don't know. They could have just been proud and celebrated their good crowd, but they just can't help themselves. They just can't do it. Um, I've kind of got through all the posts and different certain things. What I might do, we'll just keep talking on chat. Am I aware of Ali Dewa? And by my name is Nathan, and it's not a secret, so that's fine. Yeah, is that the? Hang on. Tell me if I'm right. Am I getting mixed up? Is that the guy that was hanging around Nick Fluentes, or is that no? That's Ali Alexander or something. I know the name. I just can't think of who it is. There are Windows. The modern society who supports and protects criminals, self-professed criminals, will always be confusing to me. This is why, like, again, a lot of the time I do have fun and make fun of these people, but I feel like people on social media need to cover this stuff because it's just getting like too rewarding for people to help these liars and help these grifters. Like, there's so much money involved in someone like Tommy Robinson. And there's people with all these like Twitter accounts and YouTube channels that would be pretty freaking useless without him. Like, they don't have charisma, they don't have skill, they don't have talent. And it's just like a big circle of people that are just hell-bent on keeping this guy as like a martyr, as like a martyr victim figure. It's really bizarre. And I found it, just as I started posting about this stuff, like when I did my video about silence, and I was very taken aback by how brainwashed I felt some of these people are. It was almost like similar to how I deal with Tate fans, except one, they're older, but two, they've been in it for years longer. Nick Fuentes eats. You mean boogers? But yes, he does. He's a filthy gremlin. He is. He's a nasty one. Okay, let's have a look at. Let's find some videos to look at. So I wasn't sure how long this stuff would take. I'm still getting used to this whole live streaming thing, gauging how much time it might take to look. But let's find. Okay, let's look at a few clips that I was going to look at in my upcoming video. That kind of goes into a bit more about Tommy's support of Tate. Where are we? Okay, where's one here? Okay, this is a good one. Get this up, and I'll get the screen up in a minute. So this is one thing I've found covering this stuff. I think the biggest thing I've found that gets Tommy Robinson's supporters thinking twice. Not all, but the thing I get the most of them is his support and his friendship of Tate, because this just throws a spanner in the works. His whole persona and what he says he is and what he says he's about just goes down the toilet when you look into this stuff. So yeah, in a video, I've actually been I've actually half edited it already. It won't be too far away. But then some news broke, and I thought I'd get back to it later. This is from like 2 years ago, so this isn't this isn't new. This podcast with James English, another alleged abuser. Funny enough, but it's I feel like a lot of these clips went under the radar. I hadn't seen them as far as Tommy's support. I just came across this when I was researching for another video, and I didn't realize how much Tommy talked about Tate in this podcast. So let's just look at a few clips. This one here.
So when I see all this about Andrew Tate, and a lot of my followers are against Andrew Tate, yeah, a lot of my followers are A, against his conversion, B, against his morality in the way he earned his money. They're against they believe in some of them all of the hype and allegations.
They believe the hype and the allegations. Okay.
So this is what's going on. I know what the media have done to me. So when I'm seeing what's going on with him, I'm saying, no, you've got to question everything. Because I was nearly Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, I was nearly. They even nearly turned in an innocent argument with me and an ex-employee.
Just a separate thing, but this story about the BBC turning him into Harvey Weinstein is based on a complete lie. And I can prove it, and I'm going to prove it in an upcoming video, but that's a separate thing.
Into a sexual thing that was going to be pumped on Panorama.
Okay, so he's here defending his mate Tate, and he's good friends with Tate, and he has said this recently too. So this clip's a few years old, but he's said this recently too with Patrick Bet David. Yeah, we're friends. Me and Tate are friends. He says some of my supporters don't like that I support Tate. They don't like Tate. They believe the hype and the allegations about him. As in, like, the sex trafficking rings that Tate has bragged about doing for years and sold courses teaching others how to do, and that we've all seen, at least if you're on my channel, most of us have seen, text messages of them still committing these acts. So my supporters believe this stuff, and then as a way to, like, justify this, he then starts talking about what I can tell you for a fact is a complete lie about, see, they try to set me up too and try to make me look like Harvey Weinstein, which is just a complete out of context lie that he keeps telling, that I'm going to really, really kill him on, well, not kill him, but really embarrass him on in an upcoming video. Oh yeah, and this clip kind of shows...
How does two boys from Luton become two of the biggest names in the UK? Well, Andrew Tate went worldwide, most Googled man. I've seen his interviews. He says you're a solid guy. He always says you get a good friendship. How did that relationship start?
So Tate's from Luton. Well, he's from America, but come to Luton, and he boxed at Storm Gym. So I know people who trained with him, fought with him, and Amir. So Amir's a Bosnian, ex-Bosnian Special Forces, who's the trainer there.
So they go way back, these two, Tommy and Tate. They're old friends from Luton. They grew up, they essentially grew up together. Tommy's a bit older, but they know each other from way back. But then it gets worse than that. Then we see Tommy actually... So when we see some of these social media figures that we've seen, like, literally helping Tate to lie about his cases, attack his victims... Like we've seen Candace Owens do this, Patrick Bet David, of course. We've seen Tucker Carlson literally interview Tate after he'd been arrested and charged and say, so you're not charged with any sex crimes, are you? You're not accused of any sex crimes, are you? Tate says no, leading him into these questions, deliberately helping him lie about his case. Tommy does this too. Tommy has done this too. And he does this in this video. So this is, I'm going to have to refresh my memory, but I know this is about the UK civil case victims. So we might have seen the voice note of Tate mocking his alleged victims and the texts that he sent saying that I loved raping you. These things that he allegedly sent his alleged victims, just mocking them after the fact. So
when I see Vice Media, who recently come out and they've released voice recordings of apparently of Andrew Tate. I question everything. They've released voice recordings of Andrew Tate which sound absolutely horrific. Now, what they don't tell you, there was a rape allegation against Andrew Tate in 2015 from the girls who they've got these voice recordings of. What they don't tell you, well, Vice Media didn't tell anyone, is that the reason that didn't go to trial was because the two girls who are making the allegations, when you make a sexual allegation, we've seen it with this Ellie Williams case up in Barrow, your phone is taken off you, yeah, by the police. The police found that these two girls were conspiring to extort Andrew Tate for money. Yeah? So when he was...
This is a lie. This did not happen. This is literally a part of the Tate propaganda script that we see Myron Gaines and like these losers tell.
He was a boss of 75 women who are paid to take their clothes off on TV. Yeah, I don't know what politics or dramas he has being that boss, but these two girls, which the media haven't told anyone, were conspiring, which is why no charges were brought. When you listen to those voice notes, it's like, if the voice notes are as you say, yeah, Vice Media, then the CPS would have prosecuted Andrew Tate 1,000,000%.
So again, that is like part of the Tater Tot script. That is like what it's seemingly Tate told them all to say. These two girls back in 2015, these girls in this case, they were caught lying in text messages and planning to extort Tate, and the case was thrown out. Didn't happen. Didn't happen at all. It's a lie. So the closest thing that they've kind of used to twist this, the closest thing to anything like this is two of the alleged victims in the case were obviously they were talking to the police. They reported what they said Tate did to them to the police over a decade ago now, and they were talking, and they were, one of them came across the memory that they all. Let me get this right. One of them asked the other one, "Oh, should I tell the police that we were drunk because they gave us alcohol?" And the other one said, "Well, yes, that happened, so we should." And that was it. And they've twisted this into they were caught planning to extort the Tates. This is Tommy Robinson helping someone awaiting trial for human trafficking lie about his case. So yeah, again, there's a bunch of these. I'll be putting together a video with a bunch of these older clips that people just haven't seen or haven't kind of gone under the radar. Just back on the chat here, guys. Interesting line. Is Tommy turned into Harvey Weinstein? Yeah, so he's claiming that the BBC, a particular journalist, tried to turn him into Harvey Weinstein. And there's the other person involved in that story. There was someone that used to work for Tommy, who was like undercover, talking to the BBC journalist about a story on Tommy, but talking to Tommy at the same time about it. There was something about Harvey Weinstein came up in the conversation, and Tommy's twisted it to say they tried to turn him into Harvey Weinstein. That's not true. So, yeah, there's going to be a big expose on this in the coming months. I hope I can start really getting this. This is one I've been planning for a while. Tate would take tips from Jimmy Savile if he was alive. Yeah, I wonder if, like, because we've seen Tate, like, praise Epstein. I wonder if he's ever praised Savile. We've seen him kind of talk about, like, how Epstein's cool. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. He's tweeted it before. He's tweeted that about how people were jealous of Epstein, about how many girls he could get, and all these things. And that's kind of what it's like being a pimp, like he is, like Tate is. Like, so yeah, Tate's got no problem with Epstein, from what he said. The actor, sorry, Robinson's, as American, you think Tommy's on the right side on a wrong way. Oh, I see what you're saying, Dwayne. Yeah, yeah. Look, and again, like a lot of the things that Tommy says, like here's an example. When Tommy was on Patrick Bet David's podcast earlier in the year, and he was telling all sorts of lies, like about his contempt of court case, mostly about that kind of stuff. And during that interview, he was talking about a lot of these like horrible cases in the UK, like the grape gang cases, you'd say. And I was curious. I was like, how accurate is he getting some of this stuff? And I actually kind of fact checked some of it when I was working on this video. And what I found was that a lot of the stories he was telling about these horrible things that happened were true. Like I fact checked them, and he was right. So I found that he talks about like a lot of serious problems and like horrible things that have happened, and horrible ways that cases were handled, or horrible things that predators did to young girls. And I was fact checking a lot of this stuff, and he'd memorized it, and it was all right. It was all true. And then he'll just lie, and then he'll scam. So it's like he preys on these, and that's where like I think a lot of Tommy's supporters, a lot of them mean well. Like a lot of them mean it when they see me criticize him and say, "Oh, so you support children getting, or young girls getting hurt?" Well, no. So yeah, it's very like calculated like that. I think that he does at times cover very serious topics properly, and then just some of his documentaries are just horrendous, and some of them are just oh my god, just the worst pieces of rubbish ever put to video. Tates are wrong, and Tommy's on the right side of history. Yeah, nah. Nah, no, he's not. Tate used Savile to avoid the criticism from the BBC. That rings a bell, Jack. Tate used Savile to avoid criticism from the BBC. You protect this guy. Yeah, and he of course uses Hugh Edwards and all this, of course, because Savile worked for the BBC, so of course he's going to use that. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, he worked for the enemy, for these guys. They don't, but Tommy does support Tate. But the Brown abusers, I'll call. Yeah. If they're Brown abusers, he'll call them out. And again, some of the cases I've seen him talk about, these people should be thrown under the jail, whether they're black, brown, white, whatever. But he won't criticize his mates. He'll be mates with people that have been open about preying on underage girls. Whether it's the Tates, whether it's some of his EDL mates. And if there's any news on any of these types of cases with white perpetrators, it's yeah, he won't ever cover it. So again, I think this might be crazy, but I think all men who abuse young girls and young kids are bad. That's my controversial take here. Tristan Tate is played by Billy Zane. Oh, why is that so funny? I think it's funny just because Tristan wants to be an actor. He wants to be James Bond. It's funny. Timu Billy Zane, Timu Bond. Don't listen to their words, but look at their deeds. That's a really good point. Don't listen to their words and look at their deeds. And this really relates to like a lot of grifters on the internet. Again, you can like their words, you can like what they say. It doesn't mean that they're not criminals. It doesn't mean they're not scamming people. And to me, it's just undeniable. Like the amount of fundraising that talking about Tommy here, the amount of fundraising that Tommy Robinson has done, based on lies, is like, there's a lot of people that are owed refunds that don't realize it and don't understand it. Yeah. All right, I might keep going for a bit longer. I'll have a look if there's a few more clips to look at here of just some things I've been compiling. Sorry guys, I'm just scrolling through. I just got through what we were going to cover a bit quicker than I thought. Oh, that's alright. We're just chilling in the chat for a bit and I'll wind up pretty soon. Most recent arrest was of him in a Bentley. Yeah. Cruising in a Bentley. I'm really curious about this Bentley. I'm glad you brought that up. That's something I meant to. Now, obviously, well, of course, it wouldn't be in. It can't be in his name. It'd be snapped up quickly if it was in his name. So the claim is that he's borrowing the Bentley. So what I'm very curious about, I'll be very interested if this kind of comes out and is clarified, is if it turns out that it was essentially his Bentley that he's put in someone else's name. Which would be interesting, because that would mean we're going back mid last year. He was fundraising heavily during this time. Again, he was carrying cash that he picked up from buckets from one of his rallies. And he's driving around. So if he's driving around in a 100, 200,000, 200 grand car, I mean, I think most of us here wouldn't be surprised, but I find that very interesting. This is kind of the big thing that pricked my attention. That thought, oh, maybe I might stream about this. Was when I saw about the cash in the car. I'm like, oh, this just got a bit more interesting. Not groundbreaking, not maybe that surprising, but a bit more interesting. Saville spent 5 days alone with his mother's body. Oh my god, I didn't know that. Oh my god. Spent 5 days alone with his mother's body in an open casket, saying it was the best 5 days of his life. It's funny, I guess it was a different time too, and you look at like footage and pictures of Saville, and you're just like, how did you not know? How did everyone not immediately know, like, oh my god, this guy's a freak, this guy's a creep. And having said that, it sounds like a lot of people knew. There's that infamous clip of Johnny Rotten back in the 70s saying he's up to some shady stuff, that Jimmy Savile. Doesn't matter if the car belonged to his mate. In ways that is worse. He said it was his mate's. Yeah, and it could be under his mate's name. Like, he could be covered there. We've seen the Tates get away with this. Basically, yeah, essentially just buying all these luxury cars and putting some of them under their friends' names, and some of the Tates cars got returned for this reason. Because I guess, yeah, I don't know if for that to happen, it means they covered where it came from well enough. I'm not sure, the funds. Conspiracy theorists think Andrew Tate and NBL player Austin Rivers are the same person. All right, well, I can't read that and not Google who this is. NBL, do you mean the basketball league here in Australia? Because if so, I don't really follow it. Otherwise, I might know who you're talking about. Austin Rivers. I'm guessing what you're getting at is images. Get my screen up here. Uh, they do look similar. I can see it. I mean, that's funny if people actually think they're the same person, but no, they're definitely a bit of a doppelganger. Minnesota Timberwolves. Oh, so it's one of those former NBA players that came across to the NBL. Hey, there you go. If Andrew didn't take up if Andrew didn't start a webcam business and just spent all that time shooting hoops, this could have been his life. That's kind of funny. It looks, yeah, I can see it. I can see the resemblance. Okay, where are we? He's got a lot of Jewish. Okay. Um. Already had money before any of this started. He's had properties since he was in his 20s. Yeah. What are you trying to say, that he's not grifting? Because I mean, we can see with that. We can see with our eyes. We can see him fundraising a bunch of money off false pretenses, and then straight away ending up in luxury resorts in Cyprus. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure the point there. Absolute right to remain silent. Yeah, Dwayne. I'm kind of, again. To be fair, I'm kind of with you on that. That I do find the law a bit odd. Um, I mean, again, yeah, Ezra was being misleading with the way he was saying there's no right to remain silent. But as far as like the being compelled without a warrant or anything to hand over the pin and stuff, I do find it a bit strange. And some of these laws like this, and with how, as I was saying before, how the Terrorism Act, it just makes the propaganda so easy for the likes of Tommy. Okay, I'm not a terrorist, and it's like, you don't have to be a terrorist to be pulled over under this act. Um, Frederick, hey, everyone hit the likes and subscribe to help the channel. No one is giving you content like this. Thank you, sir. Thank you for, I appreciate the kind words, and thanks for the reminder that I need to be doing this on streams. Hit the like, subscribe if you enjoyed this. Comments in the comments as you leave really help YouTube push this out as well. Yeah, I'm having fun with these streams. This is a good kind of bit of, even for my enjoyment of creating content, it's a good bit of variation for me. And I always enjoyed the the interactive nature of even the live chat in the premiere of my videos. So I did think that this would be good fun. They knew in the 70s there was footage of him on top of the pops creeping on a girl. Yeah, yeah, I remember that documentary I saw. Was it Netflix? I think I watched that when it came out, and it's disturbing stuff. And even like, yeah, like you say, even the footage of him like around the kids is um really bone chilling stuff. Lyndon can hardly talk. Malcolm was a wrong one. Is that one of the other Sex Pistols? Malcolm, I should know this. Was it one of the Sex Pistols had a few accusations there? I feel like I might have heard this and forgot. The Tates will be Tommy's downfall. Yeah, Dwayne. I mean, it's a strange one. I find it really interesting. What I find really interesting is like, did something go apart from their apparent friendship? Did the way things happened in 2018 when Tommy, Lauren Southern, and the others traveled to Bucharest? did things transpire that way that made Tate have something on him? I think this is a fair question to ask. Because yeah, it's really, I mean, God, the way these people are still, some of them, there's less of them, I think, but some of them are going down with the ship, and Tommy seems to be one of them. With the Tates, Tommy admitted to gambling 100K of donors' money in court. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And this is, yeah, his supporters really, it's like they have to have this cognitive bias. It's like they have to block this stuff out, because how can you go to his rallies and see them passing buckets around and help Tommy fight this case and help Tommy's kids when you know that, yeah, he's gambled that money. You know that he's just living it up in luxury. It's really bizarre stuff, and so it's just like it's like they just have to block it out. More streams, yes, Dutch. There'll be more streams. I've got some cool things planned and potentially some collaborations as well. I've just been kind of keeping it low key in my first number of streams, just while I get the hang of it, and I don't want to plan anything big and then make a mess of it and not have audio for 5 minutes or something like that. Yeah. Brand is a weirdo's weirdo. I'm assuming you're referring to our boy Russell, and yeah, man, he's weird. He's weird. He's another creeper. Absolute creep. The maps belong on the wall. Not sure I get that phrase, Dwayne. But if you're saying Destiny's a weirdo, absolutely he is. Absolutely he is. And I've said as much on my channel, as much as the tater tots want to think that I never ever criticize left-wingers. I mean, he's a weird one too. Good at what he does, entertaining, but obviously a bit of a freak. Keep up the great work. Bye for now. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, iWindow Liquor. There's some cool names in this chat. No, thanks. Appreciate it, man. Have a good night if you're in the evening. Okay, I'm probably going to start winding down soon, guys. If you've got any questions or requests, if not, I'll start winding down. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on stream just because there were so many of these stupid lies from these people. I mean, and it does. I have fun with it and clown on them, but it does piss me off when I see the way that these people use their audiences like this. So I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of people that are really vulnerable on the internet, really desperate. There's a lot of people in a lot of countries are doing it tough, and they're just prime for like these grifters. Yeah, they're just prime for these grifters to jump in there, and of course, in the Tate's cases, a lot of them are kids too. Yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Pretty quick stream. I just wanted to jump on and talk about these things, and I might edit this down into a bit of an edited video in the next day or two as well, to cut the points down a bit. But I'll be following this whole Tommy Robertson situation and just all of these idiots like Ezra. There's Ezra, there's Richard Inman, there's Liam Tufts, there's Dan Wooten, there's Gurumit. Yeah, they're all on notice. I'll be thrilled. This is what I'll say to them. Just tell the most absurd lies you can to help your mate Tommy, please. Because I'll be thrilled to make you look stupid and make a fool out of you. Embarrass you. I've had a few of you already. There was what's that American guy's name? Uh, Don Keith. Don Keith. He's one that's bit back at me a few times. I've made a clown out of him because during the St. Pancras incident, and straight after the St. Pancras incident, when Tommy was obviously being advised not to say anything about it, he was there on stream saying that I can say for a fact that there is separate footage to the CCTV that proves Tommy's innocent. And once he was they found they didn't lay charges. I'm not forgetting that. I said to him, "All right, Don. All right, Don. Where's the footage?" And he actually responded to me. He said, he said, "Oh, the police already said that the footage showed that." I'm like, "No, Don. You said there was footage. You said you knew for a fact there was footage. You must have seen it. You must have had it to be that confident. If you're not a liar, so where is it?" So this is an example. If these guys lie, if these guys especially try to fundraise and help Tommy fundraise based on lies, I will be there to make them look like clowns, embarrass them, put it on blast. These posts of mine about Tommy are getting more and more traction, especially on X, some on Threads as well. They can block me like Tommy did. Good luck. See if that stops me. I'll be here making you look like fools. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Yeah, like I said, this was good fun, and my first, I guess, Tommy Robinson focused stream, and certainly won't be my last, I don't think. So wherever you are in the world, I know we're pretty scattered. There might be a few Australians that have stayed up late with me, but the rest of yous, enjoy the rest of your week. I'll be following this story very closely. So if there's any developments, any more updates on this cash or this car, or anything else, I'll be sure to let you all know. And I don't think I even mentioned during this stream, geez, there was the judge ruled that there'll be a verdict on the 4th of November. So I'll be sure to keep you all updated then, and maybe stream and do a video then. We'll see how that all goes. So yeah, thanks guys, and keep your eye out for some streams and set some reminders. Yeah, the more the merrier. I'm having a lot of fun with them, and it's a good way for me to kind of cover some things that I don't have time for in videos as well. So thanks guys. It is now clocking out at 2:02 a.m. here in Adelaide, Australia. That's pretty much me done. So have a good one, guys. There'll be some videos coming up during the week as well, and I'll catch you on the next stream.